Good morning, one and all. Welcome to Microwave Engineering series. This subject is in line with JN2H Hyderabad syllabus for final year ECE students. I am T. Gayatri, an associate professor from ECE department from KJ Reddy College of Engineering and Technology. Today, we are going to discuss about waveguides. We know that microwave waves have frequencies ranging from more than 1 GHz. That is, the frequency range from 1 GHz to 1000 GHz are called microwaves, the tiny small waves. Since the stray reactance are important as these frequencies increases, the transmission line techniques must be applied to short conductors like circuit board traces. Device capacitance and transit time are important. Cable losses increases. So waveguides are often used in the microwave transmission as the conventional tubes are not helpful for microwaves because of these reasons. So we are sending the microwave signal through waveguides. What is a waveguide? Waveguide is a pipe through which the wave propagates. It can have various shapes like rectangular, circular, elliptical. It can be a rigid or a flexible structure. Waveguides have very low loss. This is an example for a rectangular waveguide. It looks like this, and a circular waveguide and elliptical waveguide. The wave in the waveguide propagates through reflection. Now, the waves in the waveguide can propagate in various waves. The time taken for a wave to move down the waveguide it varies with the mode. Each mode has a cutoff frequency below which it won't propagate. Mode with the lowest cutoff frequency is called dominant mode. That is, in other words, every waveguide will have one cutoff frequency, and above that cutoff frequency only the wave will travel. Nothing but the waveguide acts as a high pass filter. So above that cutoff frequency only the wave travels. Below the cutoff frequency the wave is attenuated. We can see we can see different mode propagations in a waveguide. We can see that lower order mode has faster propagation whereas higher order modes have slower propagation. We can see the below one is a lower order mode which will move very quickly, and the higher order mode will move slowly through the waveguide. The different mode designations possible are TE, TM, and TEM, where TE is transverse electric mode. Here, the electric field is perpendicular to the direction of propagation, whereas TM mode indicates that the magnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of propagation, whereas in TEM mode, that is a normal electromagnetic wave, here the electromagnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of propagation. And please make a note that TEM mode does not exist in a waveguide. Now, for a rectangular waveguide, we know that the dominant mode is TE10 mode. TE10 indicates that this is TEMN. The M value is 1 and N value is 0. The M value 1 indicates that there is one half cycle propagation along long dimension A, and 0 indicates that there are no half cycle propagation along short dimension B. Now, if we take TE01 mode or TE20 modes, both have cutoff frequency twice that of TE10 mode. To understand better, I will show you the diagrams of the wave propagation. We can see for TE10 mode, we know that the long dimension is A and the short dimension is B. Now TE10 mode indicates that along long dimension there is a half wave. You can see in the box 1 we have a half wave along long dimension A, and along short dimension B 0, that is there are no half cycle propagations along short dimension B. Now coming to the next mode, TE20 mode, 2 indicates that there are 2 half wave propagations along A and 0 half wave propagation along B. Figure C indicates that TE11, that is 1 half cycle propagation along A and 1 half cycle propagation along B. Now we can see that these waves are quarter waves. Along A we can find 2 parts in figure C. So the 2 parts will together become 1 half wave, and along narrow dimension B we can see other 2 parts. Those 2 parts will become 1 half wave. Hence TE11 mode will have 1 half cycle propagation towards A and 1 half cycle propagation towards B. The last diagram D indicates TE21 mode. TE21 mode indicates that there are 2 half cycle propagations along A. Now we can see that in middle we have 1 full half cycle, and at the edges we have quarter cycles. So 2 quarters together will become another half cycle. So there are totally 2 half cycles along long dimension A, and along B dimension we can find 2 quarter cycles. Together it will become 1 half cycle along B. Now the cutoff frequency for a dominant mode, that is TE10 mode, is given by this formula. Fc is equal to C by 2A. Now the group velocity is given by this formula. We can see that the group velocity is the speed at which the signal moves down the waveguide. It is always lesser than the velocity of the light, c. We can see the group velocity changes with the frequency. The frequency just above the cutoff frequency is the first wave, shown as figure A. The second wave is little higher frequency, which the wave will move slowly. And the last one is still higher frequency, so the wave will propagate slowly through the waveguide. As the velocity decreases, as the frequency increases. The phase velocity is given by this formula. The characteristic impedance for a waveguide is given by this formula, whereas the guide wavelength is given by this formula. Now, I want to ask a question. What is a dominant mode in a waveguide, and why are they preferred in a waveguide? Please think and answer this question. The answer is the mode with lowest cutoff frequency or the highest cutoff wavelength is called dominant mode. In this mode, the signal has lowest losses, hence dominant mode is preferred in a waveguide. Thank you. Thank you all. We'll continue in the next class with the next topic.